story hits the ground running and it takes off and it never comes back. It just doesn't. It's just gone. It's just gone. That's all I can say. My makeup is just sitting there. It's getting old as I sit here talking. So what is ME-FLIX, you guys? ME-FLIX is me, obviously, talking to you guys about a really great binge-worthy Netflix show. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to come in clutch, like your best friend. I am here to give you ideas and options about what's on Netflix. Yeah, so I'm going to just tell you a whole storyline while I do my makeup at midnight. Why midnight? I don't know. But we're going to go with it. So this week is a good one. Okay, you guys, this story, it hits the ground running and it never stops. I mean, in the first 30 seconds, you're already hooked. This show, CLICKBAIT, has got a very good cast. Okay, so we have Adrian Grenier. He is the star of the show. He plays as Nick Brewer. Do y'all remember him from Devil Wears Prada? It was a good one. If you haven't watched it, you should. But not right now. Watch my show first. Then we also have Zoe Kazan, and she is, I hope I'm saying her name right, Zoe Kazan, who is Nick Brewer's sister, Pia Brewer, and she's from the movie It's Complicated. Remember that one? Then we have a couple other main characters, which is Betty Gabriel, who plays Sophie Brewer, which is Nick's wife. Then we have a really great detective throughout the show, and he does some really good detective work. And his name is Phoenix Ray? How do you say this? I don't know. I always have to have one of those names that I don't know how to pronounce, because no one says them out loud, you guys. But he plays as Roshan Amiri. So yeah, that's a lot easier than the last name that he's given me to work with. So what I do is give you the storyline. I give you bits and pieces, just enough to make you want to go watch it. That's what we're here for. So let's get busy. So CLICKBAIT is basically just a good old-fashioned kidnapping gone wrong. Kidnapping, possible murder, hundreds of suspects. Everybody could have done it. And the ending is going to blow you away. Very simple, very easy, and we're going to tell you how it started. First 30 seconds, we've already got you. Okay, we open up immediately into a dinner. It's a nice little birthday dinner. It is. It looks cute. It looks fun. I want to be there. You get a nice long dinner table. You've got the family sitting around it. We have Nick Brewer sitting on one side of the table with his wife, Sophie, sitting on the other side. They've got their two kids there, Kai and Ethan. And then on the very end of the table, we have Pia Brewer, and that's Nick's sister. Their mom is having her birthday today. So she's sitting there. She's ready for her presents, right? Sophie, which is Nick's wife, she immediately puts this nice big gift right in front of her mother-in-law, and she's like, happy birthday. And Pia, which is Nick's sister, she has to chime in like instantly and say, oh, Mom, just letting you know, them two thought it was a good idea to just all three of us pitch in for one gift for you this year. Okay, that wasn't my idea, that was their idea. So the mom's like, okay, well, thank you for thinking of me, I guess, right? The mom opens it and it's this big like flower planter. They don't really show you exactly what it looks like, but she's like, oh, it's a planter, you know? And so Pia looks at her brother Nick and she's like, that's what you got her? I thought we agreed on a bread maker. Okay, there's just tension immediately in this show. I mean, it's record history. The mom is basically just happy that she got anything at all, so she really didn't even care. For some reason, Pia does not like her sister-in-law, Sophie, and she expresses that very clearly. That's when Nick chimes in, and he's like, you know what? Stop. I've had enough. Like, just zip it. You've already been too much for 30 seconds. Just let it go. Nick gets upset with Pia. Pia decides, you know what? I've had it. I'm done. I'm out. She runs out the house. They show her running out, going into the street, throwing a shoe. That's how mad she got. She threw a shoe, people. And then she realizes that she has to go get the shoe. So that was even more insulting. So now we're going to get into the story of Pia, okay? And that's what's really cool about this show. Every episode has like its own subtitle. So after like a whole minute of the episode playing, you come out with the subtitle on the bottom, and that's talking about the character that they're really basing that episode on. So episode 1 is based on the sister, which is Pia. She decides that she's going to run out of this house. She doesn't want no part of anybody's birthday anymore because it wasn't very fun for her. That was not a party, but she's going to make it a party. So what does she do? Starts texting a bunch of people. Let's go get drunk. We're going to go hang out at the club. And we're all about the nightlife. She goes hard. And she's just dancing up a storm, sweating it all off, getting some more drinks. Then she goes into the bathroom and she does the most romantic thing ever. She decides that while she goes to take a potty break, she's going to get on the phone. And she's going to start, scrolling through her apps. Let's just scroll through. Let's go through this dating site. Oh, I found a guy I want to talk to. She clicks on his name, right? And then the guy tells her, hey, what are you doing? And get this. She's like, I'm on the toilet. And you know what he says back? Let's have drinks after you flush. This is what we do now? Toilet talk? This is a thing? Well, I guess it works because they were both into it. She's like, yeah, sure, I'll let you know as soon as I'm done in here. Well, she gets up right away, and when she was done, well, she sure was, because her phone fell right in the toilet. Who's done this? You know you have. So now her phone doesn't work because obviously she dropped it in the toilet. So she rushes home. She just opens up a bag of rice and decides to do that, you know, good old trick where you stick the phone in the rice and just pack it in really hard, you know, hoping that the rice will suck out the water. That's all she can do. Like, she can't meet the guy anymore. So she did all that toilet teasing for no reason. This is her in a nutshell. She drinks, she parties, she goes to the club, she talks to strangers on the toilet in public restrooms, then she drops her phone in there and she goes home and uses her roommate's food to eat and her rice to stick the phone in. That's her in a nutshell. All right, so now we're moving on. She ends up going to her room, I guess falling asleep for maybe an hour, and then getting ready and going to work. What's her job? What would you think? She's like a nurse. She sticks IVs in people. Is that the kind of person you'd be ready for? Well, either way, it doesn't matter, because she already developed some type of fan base at work. Oh yeah, she has a little fan base. As soon as she walks in, there's this patient in there named Vincent, and I guess he is one of her favorites, and he only waits for her, and maybe he has those type of veins that only she can get. So she sits down, gets ready next to the patient, says, hi Vincent, how are you doing? So happy to see you again today. He's got his laptop open, and I guess he always shows her videos, whatever type of videos, but they're usually funny or comedy or something to make her laugh. So she asks him very casually, so what you got for me today? So she's getting ready, she's about to stab him with the needle. YouTube person pops up on his laptop. He's like, oh look, everybody's been tagging me in this one video, and I mean, it's a little creepy, you guys. It's creepy, but I'm gonna show you guys anyway, okay? Pulls up a video of this guy, and he's like all beaten up, and Pia looks, and suddenly she takes like a double take, and her face just looks like she's seen a ghost. And he's holding up a poster, and the poster says, I abuse women. And to her horror, dun dun dun, it's her brother Nick. What? It's Nick sitting there in that video holding up this poster. So Pia is watching, and she's in complete disbelief. And to make matters worse, the second poster that he holds up says, at 5 million views, I die. What? Vincent's like, are you okay? What's the matter? She's like, I gotta get the out of here. So she jumps up, she takes off. So the first thing she does is she starts calling up Sophie. Now Sophie is Nick's wife. She's assuming that she has no idea what's going on. So Sophie does not answer because she is at work right now. She works at a school. So Pia decides to race over to Nick's job, which is at a university. He is a physical therapist for like the sports students, you know, like the volleyball players. And she runs in there. The first person she sees is Matt, who is one of Nick's best friends. He is the other physical therapist. Says, Matt, have you heard from Nick today? And Matt's like, no, as a matter of fact, I haven't. Okay, well, you know what? We need to get a hold of him. Get him on the phone. I don't know what you got to do. She's like, just get a hold of him. So they walk up to the front area where the receptionist is. And there's this nice little old lady. Her name is Dawn. And she's sitting there, and they ask her, hey, Dawn, do you know what time Nick was supposed to come into work? She's like, no, but let me just take a look. Get your little computer. She says, well, it does say that Nick had a meeting with somebody at 8 o'clock this morning. And so they're like, well, did he make the meeting? And Dawn's like, look, I don't get paid that much, okay? I don't know his whole entire life, but I guess he's not here. That's when Pia starts to freak out even more because Nick is never late. He's one of those guys, very punctual. He's always where he's supposed to be, and everyone loves him. Drives all the way over to where Sophie is, and she shows her this awful video, and she's like, do you know where Nick is? When's the last time you saw him? And Sophie looks at this video, and she's eerily quiet. She sees her husband's on there holding up the sign saying, I abuse women. At 5 million views, I die. And she's just kind of like emotionless. It makes you wonder. She's like, the last time I saw him was this morning, and he seemed to be just fine. Went for his bike ride. Didn't hear from him again. I came to work. That was it. It's kind of like Matt, his best friend, is kind of like just chill about it. Sophie's just kind of chill about it. And Pia's the only one freaking out about it. Makes you kind of wonder, what kind of friends and wife do you have, guy? But anyway, so Pia's like, we're going to go straight to the police. You know, she's the only one with some common sense right now. We've got to find out who's posting this, where's this coming from. So Sophie and Pia go to the police station. Detective Roshan Amiri is the one that's on this case. And the detective that's there just locks eyes with Pia. Like, they kind of look at each other, and there's kind of like this weird do I know you kind of look, you know? So it's just kind of like a moment right there. And you're going to figure it out later. It's like, hey, look, this is what's going on. My brother's missing. He's on this media site. This says at 5 million views, he's going to get killed. And the detective is kind of just looking at her like, you know, it hasn't been 24 hours, you know, it could be some kind of prank. She's like, this is not a prank, sir. He's bleeding on TV. We need to get him home. So Detective Jourdanton is like, okay, look, you know what? I'm going to do what I can. Give me a little bit of time. Let's see what we can come up with. Sophie's like, you know what? I got to go home. My kids are waiting for me at home. I can't do this right now. She ups and leaves. So Pia's like, you know what? I'm going to take matters in my own hands. So sure enough, a little bit later, there's a knock at the door. And who is it? It's that kid Vincent. And he's like, hey, he's like, can I come up? And Pia's like, how do you even know where I live? He's like, oh, I found you. She's like, okay. He says, a friend of mine was able to crack into the system and we're able to tell where this video is being filmed at. They're able to figure out that Nick is being held in some kind of van, and it's only one particular style van because there's some labels that are behind them that they're able to pinpoint what type of van it is. So Pia's like, oh my God, thank you so much. This is so helpful. So Vincent kind of like leans in, you know, he's not reading the room. You know what I'm saying? And Pia's like, whoa, guy, this is totally not the time. Like, what are you thinking? So who walks in the door at the exact same moment? Mr. Matt, yes, the best friend. Her roommate let him in the door as well. And he's like, oh, whoa, am I interrupting something? And she's like, no, but we did find out that Nick is being held in a van. So while they're having this loving conversation, the views hit 5 million. Well, at that same time, the police find the van. Pia races over there. She gets there just in time when all the police are about to raid in there, you know, and just run up and bum rush the van. While the cops go up to the van, they open up the doors, and lo and behold, what's in there? Nothing. Nothing's in there. And it has the video camera set up in there. The whole setup is still in there. Just Nick isn't, and nobody else. Now we're back to square one. Episode 2, The Detective. Focusing on Detective Amiri, okay? This is all on him. He's got to be the one to find out what's going on. He has to locate Nick before it's too late. But the only thing is he's not a homicide detective. No. He is a missing persons detective. And he tells Pia, hey, if you want to keep me on the case, you're going to have to put in a good word for me, because if not, they're going to kick me off. She's like, you know what? I got you, boo. I got you. And this is where they address the elephant in the room, which is, how do they know each other? Remember when she was sitting on her lovely toilet in the club, texting, trying to meet somebody after she flushed? That was him. He happens to be on a dating site as well. So that's why when you look at him, it's like, hey, I know this face, because that's the guy, toilet guy. So he's like, hey, so whatever happened that day? Like, you know, did you just ignore me or what? And she's like, no, to be honest, my phone fell in the toilet. Just going to be honest. Mary tells her, listen, we're going to do everything that we can to get your brother back. So all the homicide team shows up at Sophie Brewer's house, and they just kind of work their way in there and start saying, hey, you know what, we're gonna need everybody's cell phones. We just kind of like need it just so we can trace things, see if there's something that we've missed. While Detective Amiri is still walking around the house, he hears like a notification go off, like a bing, you know, over in another room. He knocks on the son Ethan's door, kind of like creeps in. He's like, hey bud, did I just hear a notification go off in your room? Didn't we pick up your phone? Like, are you hiding one? Like, what's going on? And so Ethan's like, yeah, look, this is my dad's. And he pulls out the iPad. He says, I saved it because there's this app that we all created. It's called geo-nicking. And everybody's trying to look for my dad. And while they're doing that, they are signing off on all the areas that they've already searched. This way, you know, that area is clear. Let's go on to another area. So he's being really understanding with the kid. He's going to let him keep the iPad, right? And this is when Ethan asked the $1 million question of the entire season. This is the one question that matters. Why is this happening? Why us? Why my dad? What did he do to deserve this? And Detective Amiri looks back at him and he's like, I don't know, but we're going to figure it out, okay? We're doing our best to get your dad back home to you. Good talk. Good talk, detective. Well, Pia gets a notification on her phone from that guy, Vincent, the one that's her friend. He sends her a message saying, hey, I think we found him. So she's super excited. She rushes to him. They go to this area where there's a lot of people kind of like huddled around, and they're looking over this bridge, and there's a body down there. So Pia's like, oh my God, no, don't tell me that's him. And they look down there, and what is it? It's a dummy. Yeah, somebody's playing a cruel joke. What's wrong with people? Vincent, make sure you got the good info before you're over here calling Pia to come over here and look at a dummy down there. Like, did he do it on purpose? Like, what are you doing, Vincent? So she gets really upset. She takes off. She goes home. Mary's like, you know what? I'm going to get in on this. So he downloads that same app and he starts kind of like following it. So wherever there's these little red dots, that means that people have already searched there. He brings this to his commanding officer. He's like, hey, look, this is the best bet that we got. If we search all these spots, I can almost guarantee you this open area right here where there's like this creek. He's like, I think we could really find something. Let's do it. What do you say? High five. So they get the whole search crew out there and they hit that one creek area. And sure enough, when they get down there, there is more rocks, more water. This time Amiri finds the body and it is a poor Nick. He's all black and blue and he doesn't look very good. No. I know I had to break it to you. I know. I mean, but it's a second episode. You're going to find out anyway, okay? Now, Detective Amiri has to break this bad news to Pia. He gives her the bad news. Instantly, she shuts the door. Don't want to talk to you. Get the hell away from me. You're supposed to find him alive, not dead. You're good for nothing. So now, the main goal is to find out who did this to Nick and why. Dun, dun, dun. Episode 3. The Wife. So Amiri had already broke the news to Pia at her apartment. But with the wife, they decide, you know what? We're going to break the news to her at the station. She's got some questionable photos on her phone. Before Detective Amiri breaks this news to Sophie Brewer, he has done some more detective work. He had found out that Nick had been at a bar a few weeks prior, and at this bar, he gets in a fight with this guy. And it's like, why did this fight break out? They were just talking to each other, and then the guy gets up and like shoves him, right? All this is caught on video in this bar area. That guy is the same guy on Sophie's phone. Wow, another series of unfortunate events. They decide to give her the bad news, and when they break it to her, they're like, hey, you know what? We found Nick. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And she still has this very monotone kind of look. You're not too sure if she cried or not because you don't know if there's water in the eyes or not, but she's just kind of like solemnly sitting there. Now, Detective Amiri has a few things on Sophie. So they're like, hey, do you know this guy, Sophie? And she takes a really good look. Okay, she looks very well with both her eyes. And she's like, no. Does she need glasses? I don't know. You don't know who the guy is, ma'am? Really? How about the guy in your phone? Does he resemble the guy in the video? That is the same guy. So then she's like, okay, yes, that is the same guy. I didn't want to admit to it because it's going to make me look bad. I haven't spoke to him in 6 months. And they're like, okay, well, how do you know him? Well, I used to be a colleague of his. We worked together at the school. His name is Curtis Hamilton. I ended it. It didn't last very long. He resigned from the school and I have not seen him since then. And they're like, well, did he kill your husband? She's like, I don't know. Why would you even ask me that? It's a normal question to ask. He's shoving him around in a bar. Like, hello, lady. So now they have another suspect in the mix, right? She goes home, goes and breaks it to her kids. Hey, your dad's not coming home again. The kids are like, oh my God, no way. So immediately, Ethan has his phone going off. His phone's been going off ever since the beginning. Somebody's constantly texting this kid. Constantly. I thought my kids got text all day long. This boy tops it. Okay, seriously. So back to Sophie. She's got a lot of explaining to do. She has this weirdo on her phone. Nobody seems to know where he is, but she decides she's going to go ahead and send him a message. Say, hey, I need to speak to you, and let's go ahead and meet up. And she asks him point blank, did you get into a fight with my husband? And the guy is like, no, I went to talk to your husband. We had an altercation. I left. He was alive. Not a big deal. You're going to blame me that he's dead now? Like, are you serious? And then there's a knock on the door. Bam, 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 bam. And who is it? The police. Of course, because they're following her. Hello, you're a suspect. People are so stupid. They take the guy out. They look at her. You're coming with us too. So she ends up at the police station again. The guy has already been cleared because they say that his alibi checked out. But Miss Sophie still isn't so clear. They have this memorial for Nick at the student university. All of the volleyball girls are there. The faculty's there. Everyone's there. Sophie's walking in. One of the volleyball girls walks up to her and she's like, Miss Brewer, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to tell you my condolences. And I had to say one more thing. It's about Nick. And Sophie's like, okay, well, what about him? She's like, well, he was kind of close to some of the girls. And Sophie's like, what? And right when she was in the middle of trying to find out, what are you talking about, little girl? Here comes Matt. Remember the best friend, Matt? He just chimes in, interrupts the whole conversation, says, thank you, Jenny. Go ahead and have your seat. We appreciate you coming over and talking to Miss Brewer. And he just says, Sophie, it's okay. So she's like, you know what? This is too much. I got to get up and get out of here. So she just leaves the service. Well, when she goes home, she's just bombarded by all these reporters that are standing out at her house. I mean, they're just camped there. Okay, reporters, journalists, they're ruthless. They'll eat, drink, probably poop there. It doesn't matter. They're not leaving the site. When she's there looking out her window, she sees this lady. She's in front of her car and she's kind of like just looking like, I don't know if I should be here. What am I doing here? Here comes a reporter, Mr. Ben Park. He's like, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Hello. And then she's like, hi. And he's like, can I help you? Are you a reporter too? Here's my card. Let's share info. And then she's like, no, I'm not a reporter. I'm just here. And he's like, okay, well, that's a weird answer. But anyway, if you have any details for me about this Brewer case, hook up with me. Seems a little intimidated. She gets back in her car, she just drives away. Well, her son has had it because he can't do anything. He's like, there's reporters everywhere. His dad has been found dead. Nobody has any answers. And he just had it. He's gonna get on skateboards and take off. Well, now Sophie's gonna go after him, right? So she does. She thinks he's at the skate park. She tries to find him. He's not there. But who is there? That lady. The same lady that was in front of her house. So Sophie's like, I'm up to my eyeballs with you guys already. I'm just gonna go up to your car, bang on your door and find out what the hell do you want. She goes, bangs on the car. She's like, hey, get out. Are you stalking me? And get this. The lady gets out of the car. She kindly looks at her and she says, I was having an affair with your husband. We were in love. Who does that? What are you thinking? You're gonna get out of your car, tell a grieving wife, well, she could be grieving, nobody knows yet, but you're gonna tell a wife of the man you're having an affair with, who just died, that you're having an affair with him? And Sophie's like, F you, there's no way. She's like, no, it's true, we were in a full-blown relationship. I had to come down here and tell you. She's like, what do you mean come down here? She's like, you're not from here? She's like, no, I'm from LA. That's much better, right? It's much better. So Sophie just left thinking, did this lady really just have an affair with my husband? Because, she thinks she knew Nick, right? Like he was Mr. Perfect. He was Mr. Sweet, innocent Nick. Are they always sweet and innocent? I don't know. Maybe not. And we move into episode 4, The Mistress, Emma Beasley. Emma's already hooking up with the police, okay? She wanted to go straight to the cops. She wanted to let them know that she was the girlfriend of Nick and that if there's anything she can do to help, she's here for them, right? And the cops are looking at her like, are you serious? Like, you look like you're deranged. And they're like, okay, ma'am, well, thank you for your statement. You can be on your way. She decides that she's going to go ahead and buy some flowers. She's going to go put them at the little service memorial area at the school that Nick taught at. And when she walks up there to do that, she runs into Matt. Oh, are you Matt? And he's like, yeah, who are you? I'm Emma. I was a good friend of Nick's. And he's like, okay, like, I don't know you, but okay, right? So Emma somehow makes her way inside the building and she finds the office that Nick used to be in. She snoops around. She grabs one of his shirts that's on his chair. She starts smelling it like, oh my gosh, like getting those memories back, right? And it's a little weird. It's a little creepy. In walks Miss Dawn. Miss Dawn, she's always somewhere, isn't she? And she's like, can I help you? Do you belong in here? This was Nick's office. Like, who are you? And Emma just rushes out. At that same exact time, Pia's walking in and she goes straight to Matt's office. And she's like, Matt, you were always with Nick in LA. Did you know he was having an affair? Don't do the bro code thing. You better tell me right now. And Matt's like, oh my God, I don't know. He was like, wait a minute. Was her name Emma? And Pia's like, yes. How did you know her name was Emma? And he says, because she was just here. So Pia finds out what hotel she's staying at and she goes straight over there. And she knocks on the door and Emma's just all too happy to let her in. And that's when Pia's like, listen, I don't know what you're doing here, but you're messing everything up. Like, my brother could not have been in love with you. There's just no way. And Emma's like, yes, he was. He told me all about you, all about things that y'all went through when you were younger. We were in love. In love. Pia's like, bullshit. Emma's like, you know what? Fine. Okay, I'll leave. I'll go home tomorrow, whatever. Sure enough, good old detective Jourdanton Amiri has found out some more detective work. So he finds out that Nick was on a dating website. That's how he met Emma, right? And then he finds out he was on another dating website. Dun, dun, dun. How many dating websites was this guy on? He was married, for goodness sake. Pia's like, well, I got to break this news to Emma because, even though Emma's just a mistress, she probably should know that, hey, you weren't the only one, girl. So now that Emma has this news that she wasn't the only one that Nick was seeing, she's a little mad. You kind of don't know, does she have something to do with this? Or did she just find this out? Did she know already? You just don't know, right? So while she's coming to terms with that, she decides she's going to go meet with the journalist who gave her his card. Remember, Mr. Ben Park? He takes that interview with Miss Emma Beasley. He enjoys every minute of it because now she's kind of a scorned mistress, right? Go figure. Can you have one of those, a scorned mistress? Yeah, she's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and blow this whole thing wide open. That brings us to episode 5, The Reporter. What does Ben Park do? He has no shame. Decides that he's gonna make his way back to the Brewer house. He's gonna act like a delivery boy. He's gonna get some food, real food, right? And he's gonna go ahead, walk right up to the house, knock on the door, knock, 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 delivery. So Ben lets himself in the house, and he's holding the delivery bag, but he also has his camera in his hand. He starts taking some little quick pictures all around the room that he can get to, because he's right there at the front entry. Pia catches him, and Pia's like, get the hell out of my house right now. And he's like, wait. I gotta let you guys know something. Emma Beasley's down there at the station, spilling her guts, giving interviews, and it's making you guys look bad. Just so you know, that's all I'm here for. And he puts the bag down, and he runs out the door. Mr. Park, he doesn't give up. He starts doing a lot of digging on his own. He goes into some chat room. In the chat room, he finds there's the volleyball players talking to each other, right? And one of them says, well, you know what? Defend Nick all you want. You can't talk about things you didn't know about. Ben was like, hey, red flag here. Who's chatting about this? Let's capitalize on that. Let's go to the university and see what we can find out. He asked the girl, hey, did you post this last night, in this chat, saying that y'all don't know Nick the way we know Nick? She just kind of like shakes her head. She's like, I'm not supposed to talk to you, but I'm the wrong girl, okay? It's not me. It's another girl. She's the one that had the problem with Nick, not me. Very vague. The whole thing's very vague. Good old Matt, he's watching all this from the window. He always sees everything going down, right? So he sees out the window, bam, there's a reporter, bam, talking to a volleyball player. Nope, gotta shut it down. He runs out there. He's like, hey, Mr. Reporter, what can I do for you, right? So Ben's like, it's okay. Thank you for your help. I got what I needed. Okay, bye. And he takes off. So Ben is just everywhere. And he also found out through his little websites and all this searching on the technology who exactly Nick was talking to on those websites. He finds two of the women. One is named Mandy Harrison. Another one's named Sarah Burton. Dun, dun, dun. Another twist of events. Well, sure enough, he gets to find them. And he goes to the house of one of them and decides he's going to break in. Why? Why do you want to break in someone's house? It's creepy and against the law. But he did it anyway. So while little old Ben is snooping around this house that he doesn't belong in, you hear the door open. And so Ben looks over and he sees a man walk in. Well, who is this man? He's the guy that lives there. It's Sarah's brother, Simon. He goes and sits down on the couch, and Ben starts to slowly make his way out the door. Well, before he does, he grabs a phone. And he's going to save it and keep it because he wants to get some information off of it. When he goes to the door, he closes it. Well, Simon turns around and hears the door close. He's like, oh my God, who the hell's in my apartment? He runs out, sees Ben going down the stairs, takes off after him. Ben ends up jumping in his car, and Simon's like right there, almost on top of him. But Ben takes off, drives away, and Simon's left there in the parking lot. But now Ben's just happy because he was able to get a big piece of information out of that house, which is the phone. What does he do with this information? He takes it to his boss, and he's like, look, I'm going to be the one to interview Sophie Brewer, and if not, I'm going to get this evidence, I'm going to take it to another agency, and they'll let me run it. So his boss is like, okay, whoa, chill. You can interview her. Calm down, little man. That's what they do. They get Sophie Brewer in there. Well, Mr. Ben Park has this information that Sophie does not even know about. He's going to blow it out of the water right there on camera, live in front of everybody. So he sits her down. They start the interview. And he's like, hey, did you know that your husband was involved with another lady? And then Sophie's like, what? And he's like, yeah. He goes, and by the way, that lady took her own life. Dun, dun, dun. That's like 4 bam in your face turn of events. So all this is being publicized live. Everybody's watching this. Who else is watching this? Simon at home. Who was Simon? Let me refresh your memory. Sarah Burton's brother. He gets to watch his sister's memory be dragged on national television right in front of his face. So now what do? We go into episode 6, The Brother. So now the good old detectives got wind of this, and they get to go question Simon. Now they know he's the brother of Sarah, the poor young lady who took her own life. He goes to Simon's apartment, and he's like, hey, everything okay, buddy? Well, we found out what happened to your sister. Did you know anything about Nick and her? And Simon's like, no, I don't know who she was dating. I didn't know anything. All I know was she got really depressed one day, and then she wasn't here anymore. The detective's like, well, really? He's like, okay. Well, where were you the night of Nick's kidnapping? And that's when Simon is very clear, and he's like, me and my best friend were out fishing. His buddy, by the way, is very shady looking, just so you know. And Detective Rashawn is like, all right, well, thank you so much for your time. We'll be back in touch. Don't leave town. Don't leave town. So Simon's like, oh, he seemed real chill, like everything was okay. Then immediately gets on the phone with his best friend. He's like, hey, don't forget what I told you. We were out fishing. That's it. And so you're thinking to yourself, whoa, buddy, why are y'all talking about this? Like, what, did you do something? Like, what happened here? Roshan, he's like, you know what? Something's just not right with that guy. I'm going to go back over there, take another swing by his apartment. I'm going to take another detective with me and bring him down to the station this time. So he goes to his apartment. Just want to have like another few words with you if you don't mind coming down the station with us. If you don't mind, just hop in the car, no big deal. And that's when Simon's like, hey, that's fine, but do you mind if I drive my own car? Because I really, really don't want to go in your car because I don't want to be late for work. Detective Roshan is like, you know what? That's fine, dude. Go ahead, get your car. What does he decide to do? Books it. Bolts out. And that's when the cops have to turn around, go chase after him. Why are you running, sir? If you're not doing anything, why are you hauling ass in the wrong direction? Finally, Roshan catches up to Simon. They corner him. He's got to get out of his car, and there's nowhere to go. So he starts spilling the beans. He's like, but you know what? Before I finish what I got to say, I want to talk to Pia. And the detective's like, why? What do you want to talk to her for? He's like, I have something to say to her. This is weird. It's getting weird. So they go and get Pia. She comes in there. She sits down. She's like, yeah, what do you want to tell me? You killed my brother. Are you happy about it? And he's like, listen, Pia, I wanted to see you in person because Nick told me how close you guys were. He's like, and I just had to tell you face to face that I got the wrong guy. And I let him go. What? Yes, I took him. Yes, I kidnapped him. Yes, I put him in a van. I interrogated him. I gave him those posters, but it wasn't me. I let him go. Last time I saw your brother, he was alive and well. Maybe not that well. He was kind of beat up, looking a little messed up in the face. And she looks at him. She's like, okay, this sucks. So you're going to tell me that you let him go? So we still don't know who the hell killed my brother. Thanks for nothing. And we move into 7, which is the son. So Pia is still upset, trying to figure out who did what. Did this guy Simon do it? Well, she gets a hold of her friend, the same guy, Vincent, the young kid from earlier who kind of is real good with technology. He always finds out things for her. He finds out where she lives. He finds her email. He just knows everything about her. And so she says, hey, look, you know what? I need your help one more time. That kid Vincent says, well, you know what? As a matter of fact, I was going to let you know. There was a rumor going on, okay? The rumor mill. Supposedly, one of the cheerleaders had something going on with Nick. So he circles the picture of the girl that he's talking about. He's like, her name is Tara. She quit the team right before Nick disappeared. She takes off. She goes to the university. She's like, you know what, Tara? Can I please talk to you? Can you come over here just for 1 minute, please? Thank you. I appreciate you. I need to ask you, why were you and my brother arguing? Why did you quit the team? And what were you guys doing? Because I've heard some rumors, okay? She says he was trying to keep me from quitting the team. Nick didn't do anything wrong. You know who did? It was Matt Alden. Matt? Dun dun dun. The best friend Matt? Yes, the best friend Matt. Pia's got to find out what exactly did Matt have to do with her brother. What kind of guy are you? Is nobody in this story who they say they are? I guess not. So back to the sons over here. Oldest, he's always getting those messages. Throughout the whole movie, he's getting messages. So finally, when another message goes off, while Ethan is in the car with his Aunt Pia, she's like, who are you texting? Who are you messaging? And he's like, oh, it's just this girl, this girl that I like. And then Pia's like, oh, okay, you like a girl? Where'd you meet her? And he's like, well, I met her online. And she's like, wait a minute. Please tell me that you've actually met her. And he's like, yes, calm down. I met her. He hasn't met her. Another plot twist. So while he tries to figure that out, Pia goes back to the school, the university, and she's like, you know what? I got this info about Matt messing around with this girl. I want to see what else I can find out from this. So she goes and asks Dawn, good old Dawn, always there for everybody, helps out whenever you need her to. She goes, look, I know you were good friends with my brother. I know you adored him, didn't you? And Dawn's like, yeah, I did. And she's like, okay. If you can please open Matt's computer, I need to get in there. I have to find out what happened to my brother. Pia opens it. They end up seeing what they weren't supposed to. A lot of very questionable, curious pictures. She calls good old Roshan. I think Matt has something to do with it. He has some weird photos on his computer. I don't know if it could mean something. I'm not too sure. But just help me out. At the same time, we have the good old Ethan who's confused about who this online person is. So he leaves his computer up and he's been texting and talking. This online person doesn't want to meet in real life. And so that's a big red flag. That's a big red flag. So Ethan makes a mistake of leaving the computer open. And his younger brother Kai just stumbles in his room. And he sees these open apps on his brother's computer. and he sees the one right here that says, "From Allison. Hey, listen, are you there? Look what I found." A map with a little pin drop on there of an address. I think this is where the bad guy lives. He's gonna probably go to that address. So we've got Pia racing home one direction. We've got Kai sneaking out the window. He's going to the address that he saw on his brother's computer. They both think they're headed to find who the killer is. Who do you think it is? Do you think Simon was telling the truth? That he let Nick go? What about Sophie? Do you think she's a scorned wife who had her husband murdered because she found out about all the affairs? Do you think Matt did it because he was jealous that everybody loved Nick and not him? Or maybe it was Emma Beasley because she found out that she wasn't the only one on the side. I know, how can a side chick get mad? They do. Or maybe it was good old Vincent. Maybe this was a way to get her attention so he could be involved in her life for once. Or maybe it could have been one of the other cheerleaders that were jealous because Nick didn't give them as much attention as he gave little old Tara. Who knows? It could have been anybody. That's the great thing about this series. You just don't know who it was. It's like playing a game of Clue. Remember the old board game, Clue? Yeah? I always refer to old stuff. That's how I do, okay? All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the look I put together. I wanted to do something a little mysterious, since this is a very mysterious, suspenseful type of show. If you guys liked it, give me a thumbs up. Please share this video. That's all I got for you today. Clickbait. It's a doozy. You got to check it out. Leave it down in the comments below if you think you know who did it and if you're right. I want to know if you guys are right. You guys have a great night. Be kind. Go out there and treat others the way you want to be treated. Just to be nice to somebody makes all the difference. I love you guys. See y'all later. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see what we get next time. Bye. No, we're going to fix this. We don't look so hot right now. No, sir. Let's go get a drink after you flush. Is that what we've come to? Toilet talk? Is that what it is? So this week's Netflix show is really good. It's a non-stop action thriller. Okay, it is. If you like action and you like thrillers and you like suspense, you're gonna like this one. You really are. Because it never stops. How many times am I gonna say that? I don't know what else to fucking say anymore. I've been talking so much that my necklace just won't stop turning. I move too much. I'm a mover. I think I'm a dancing. I don't know. So this week's Netflix show is about, it's not about you. That was last week's. Gee whiz. Isn't it wonderful when you don't have an answer for somebody to some kind of question that big in life? It's like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what happens, but I'm going to try to figure it out, okay? Just saying no the whole time because you have no idea what's going on. No clue. None. Story hits the ground running and it just takes off. I mean, it's gone. It's just like... So what is ME-FLIX, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. Did you not watch last week's? Where have you been? But last week I did You. Yeah, I talked about You, the Netflix show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, then you weren't watching the right show. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, no, no, no. How long have you been there? Oh, no. Tweezers. Let that be a lesson to all your buddies. You see what happens? You get plucked the fuck out. Am I drinking water? How dare I drink water on my channel? It's only because I'm too lazy to go make some tea. That's all. Water was the fastest thing to come out of the fridge. Am I wearing Christmas trees today? Yes, maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. You can't tell. They're out of the camera. I love Christmas. Makes me happy. I'm telling you, this show just keeps on going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It's got a lot for you, okay?